Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are not on the official timeline, and I just might be able to prove it. In Skyward Sword, during the events of the game, we eventually return the Mother Goddess statue to the surface where it was originally located. After completing his journey, Link relinquishes ownership of the Master Sword by placing it in its pedestal inside the sealed temple. The era of chaos eventually shatters the many long years of peace following the events of Skyward Sword. Due to the danger posed to the Triforce, the ancient sage Rauru decided to build a new Temple of Time around the ruins of the sealed temple, which still held the Master Sword inside of it. He then locked away the Triforce inside the Temple of Light, a location within the Sacred Realm, only accessible through pulling the Master Sword out of its pedestal. That's all well and good, but the Temple of Time that Rauru supposedly built around the ruins of the sealed temple is apparently the same one that we can find in Ocarina of Time. Needless to say, there's no way that this is actually the case. The Temple of Time in Ocarina of Time is simply way too small, and it's only one structure. There's no other structure surrounding it or inside of it, so what's going on here? Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, games that supposedly take place tens of thousands of years after the last game in the timeline, has a location that we can explore called the Forgotten Temple. Upon closer inspection, it becomes obvious that this Forgotten Temple is actually the sealed temple, the exact same one from Skyward Sword, Mother Goddess statue and all. Something is definitely different about this place compared to the last time we saw it ourselves. Instead of wide open skies and lush vegetation surrounding the sealed temple, now there's enormous walls and a massive ceiling encompassing the entire area. Remember what I said earlier about how Rauru built a new Temple of Time around the ruins of the sealed temple? Well, this is what I would imagine it would look like if that were actually the case. The sealed temple was apparently in ruins when the Temple of Time was built around it before the events of Ocarina of Time, but as we can clearly see, the sealed temple is still very much standing in Tears of the Kingdom. So what gives? Does this mean that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom take place before Ocarina of Time then? Well, that can't be possible either, because if the Master Sword was still inside the sealed temple when the new Temple of Time was being constructed around it, then that would mean it would be just a couple of feet away from everyone in this cutscene, but we know that neither Rauru or Minoru knew about the Master Sword's existence. The Master Sword's pedestal being located in the Lost Woods in both games also conflicts with this possibility since it's supposed to still be inside the sealed temple. The Mother Goddess statue is also completely absent in this cutscene for some reason, which should be right where everyone is standing. If this scene takes place before the Mother Goddess statue is built, then where is the room that contains the secret stones behind it in Skyward Sword? If the Mother Goddess statue was still in the air during this cutscene, then why is there clearly a building with an intact ceiling surrounding this room and the landmass they're all standing on is still there, when it should be attached to the Mother Goddess statue in the sky? If Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are anywhere after Ocarina of Time on the timeline, then where is this Temple of Time if it was built over the remains of this still very much standing sealed temple? The only way to explain this is if Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are not part of the official timeline at all, and instead belong to their own separate timeline. The flow of events that we are all very familiar with simply don't line up here, and in fact, it lines up so poorly that it's just straight up impossible for these two games to belong to the official timeline. What do you think is going on here? Is this perhaps another instance of Hyrule Historia and Encyclopedia giving us misinformation? Or do Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom really belong to a brand new timeline with its own unique flow of events? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed yourself, there is much more to come in the future, so please subscribe and stick around for another bite of Zelda lore from Gossip Geist.
Hey!